Hi everyone, it's me, Zander, the Jammin Doctor, coming to you from the kitchen, as it happens in this case, not the biscuit tin. This is a bit weird for me. I'm just sitting at the kitchen table. I don't have my keyboard. I don't have my proper mic or my proper webcam. I thought that might be a bit overkill just for a pub quiz. But I do have all of these beautiful graphics. Look at all of this over here. Wow. Ooh, so I've been doing a bit of work on the layout of the show, so this is going to be stuff that's going to be carried on in the Jam and Doctor live music show as well on the Friday. Have a wee cup of tea, guys. It's a Tuesday. I know I always encourage you to get drunk, but you might have work tomorrow. But if you don't, feel free to fill your boots. But I'm going to have a wee cup of tea. As always, let me know in the comments section who's there. I can see Alex Simpson, Dougie Allen, Ronnie Gillies, Kenny Skeen. Again, just let me know who's all watching, who's all there. I'm going to give it another wee couple of minutes just to let everybody get on who wants to come on. Then I'll go through some of the ground rules and how the quiz is going to run. Hopefully, it'll all make sense. Might be a bit of trial and error because this is the first time we're doing it. But hopefully, it will all make sense. As always, if there's any problems with sound, vision, or anything else, let me know in the comments section. All right. So I'm just going to. What time are we on now? I know that you're a little bit behind me, but as I'm looking at it now, it's 20:33. So I'm going to give it till maybe 25 to. Again, just let me know in the comment section if you're watching, guys, because I can see there's more people watching than are commenting just now, which is fine. But I do like to know who I'm talking to. Like to know that I'm not talking to myself. Um, I'll go through the basics first of all, and then we'll get into the specifics. All right. So the quiz will be 5 rounds of 10 questions. 10 questions in each round. 5 rounds. So there is 50 questions in the quiz overall. The questions are worth 1 point each. There are some questions where you might be able to score half a point, and I'll let you know what those are when they come up. And the last question in the quiz will be worth 5 points, and I'll explain what that is when we get there. Hello, Elizabeth and John McMillan. Hi, guys. So, Namaskio, I'm here ready to be embarrassed by my lack of general knowledge. Now, this is for everyone who watches the show regularly on a Friday. This is your chance to get your own back on that. The shark must be tamed. This is your chance to be. I was going to say Moby Dick, but that analogy does not work because Moby Dick was a whale and Captain Ahab was killed at the end of it. So forget that. What's the guy in Jaws? Whatever the guy in Jaws is that kills the shark, this is your chance to be that. So the way that this is going to work, all right. Some of you will be familiar with Google Forms. Google Forms is a way that you just make up a form and you post a link to it. People click on the link and it brings up the form. We can see the first question. Yes, I am aware. It gives you plenty of time to think about the first question. That must you. Did you just call me a whale? No, no. Backtrack. Beep, 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 beep. Dead end. Don't have a good first quiz, everyone. No, that's not. Oh no, see, that's not what I meant. Emphatically not. Anywho, I'll move on. This is weird. I feel so much less comfortable when I don't have a keyboard in front of me. Anywho, so the answers will be, or the answer form will be on this Google Forms. I'm going to post the link. It's already in, I think, the description, but I'm going to post it again in a minute anyway. When I do that, now, I've said here, you'll probably need 2 devices. Well, you'll need a minimum of 2 devices to play this, because you'll need a device to watch me and hear the question, and then you'll need a device to fill in the form. If you want to be really clever, what I would do is I would have 3 in total, because I would watch this on YouTube on the telly. I would have a device for the form so that I can keep that open and just fill it in, because if you close the form down, you'll lose everything you've put on it so far. And if you know how to navigate away from a page without closing it, that's fine. But if you're not that tech savvy, you're better just leaving the form open or you'll lose everything on it. But if you want another device to comment and so you can be involved in the chat and so that you can have a bit of banter, you might want another one. So what I would do if I were you is I would get this on YouTube on your big telly. And if you're playing in a couple, one of you give the answers on the form and one of you use it for the chat. If you're not playing in a couple, use your maybe laptop or your iPad or something like that to give the answers and use your phone for the chat. Because if you use your phone for the answers, if you come out of it, as I say, I think you'll probably lose all the answers that you've put in already, which would be a nightmare. So as I say, at least 2 devices, but I recommend 3, including a TV. Get this on YouTube. Get the form opened on another device, a phone, laptop, or iPad, and then use another one of those for comments in the comment section. That would be my advice. Alright, please, 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 it's on your screen right now. Don't put on answers in the chat or in the comment section. Please, it ruins it for everybody. If somebody's sitting at home and it's on the tip of their tongue and they see it flash up in front of them, it's going to annoy them and it's going to ruin their night. So please don't put your comments in the answer section, alright? Only put your answers, don't put your answers in the comment section. Only put your answers on the form. Thank you so much, guys. Now, what else do I need to say before we get started? Yes, your answers are going to be automatically marked. So I'm trying to be clever because I don't have time to mark all your answers. So I have put in, for those of you who are familiar with Excel, if you're not, don't worry, you don't need to know this, but I'm just explaining to you so you know how to think about this when you're putting your answers in, okay? In Excel, there's a function where you can match text. So I'm going to download all your answers. They'll automatically go into Excel. And if they match the answers that I've already pre-populated, it'll automatically give you a point. Now that means that you have to get your spelling roughly right, okay? If your spelling is close, you might still get the point because I've tried to put in some common spelling mistakes as well as answers so that if if somebody's name's Stephen and it's PH instead of a V, you'll still get the point for that, alright? If you're miles out with your spelling, it won't recognise it and you won't get the point. Don't answer in sentences because, again, all the answers that I've put in that you're trying to match up with will be short answers. So if you're typing in something like, it was the year that so and so did so, it's not that. It's going to be a short 1, 2, or 3 word answer in the vast majority of cases. And if it's not, I'll tell you it's not. All right. Don't put a full stop at the end of anything because, again, if the text doesn't exactly match what I've put in, you won't get the point. And as I say, don't answer questions. So if I say, what's the capital of Spain, which isn't one of the questions tonight, but if I say, what's the capital of Spain, don't write the capital of Spain is Madrid. Don't write it's Madrid or anything like that. Just write Madrid with no full stop at the end. Lower, higher case doesn't matter. Capital letters don't matter, but the actual characters that you type does matter. And finally, take it in the spirit it's intended, guys. As I say, there will be some answers because of the way that the answer form works out your answers. There will be some of these that you probably do get right, but that we won't recognise because I can't cover every single permutation. So please don't lose the nut at me. So what I'll do is, I'm about to post the link again for the answer form. If you have that on a device, it's not the one you're watching this on, so you can put your answers in there. All right. Now, as I do that, just bear in mind that when you get to the end of the first round, there'll be a button that says next down the bottom. Hit next, and that will take you onto the screen for round 2. I'll then read the answers to round 1, but you won't know what ones you've got right or not because it's only at the end of the quiz, once you've went through. At the end of round 5, there's a button that says submit. Once you hit the submit button, then I'll get all the answers. So you can mark it yourself as you're going in your head, or you can write it down on a piece of paper and mark it for yourself so you know roughly how well you're doing. But we won't have your official answers until the end of the quiz. And then once we've got that, I'm going to bring it up on the screen and we'll see who's won the quiz. The points on this will be carried on to the points for the Jammin Doctor quiz on Friday night. So I think I've probably explained that to death, but it's just normally we'll be straight into the quiz once you guys get to know how you're doing it. But just for tonight, because it's the first time, I thought I would do it like this. All right. So I am now going to post I'm going to post it first of all in Facebook. So you should now see the answer form being posted on the Facebook page. And there we go. And I'm now going to go to YouTube and do the same on there. And once you see that, as I say, just click on that and have it open on a device that you can just keep open for the duration of the quiz. Because if you come away from it, especially on your phone, you may end up losing it. All right, so I'm just going to post it now on the YouTube, just on YouTube. There you go. So you should now all be able to see the link for the form. Richard Skeena said, is there a JDS in this? Now, this is how well I know him. I think he's trying to say, is there a Joker in this? Because a quiz that we've played recently together, there was a Joker round. No, there's no Joker round. That would be too hard for me to work out. All right, guys. So hopefully, I'm just going to wait on someone. If someone can just tell me that they've got the form open and it looks how they're expecting it to look, all right? As long as somebody does that, then I'll know that the form's worked. As I say, normally the quiz will be a lot slicker than this, but because it's the first time, I'm taking a bit of time to make sure everybody knows how it's working. Hi, Marion. Hi, Brian Doyle. So lots of you here for the first time. Everybody's here for the first time, isn't it? It's the first time I've done it. But if someone can just tell me if that form has opened Yeah, so my dad has quite rightly said, remind them to put their name in the answer form. You have to put your name in the answer form. It won't let you submit it if you haven't put your name on it. So in the very first round one, it'll ask for your name. Otherwise, we won't know who's who. So Elizabeth McMillan saying the form looks fine, good. Um, Dead End Old says, wait a minute, Brian Doyle, the master of Googling, in a quiz? Well, I never. There's no dodgy biscuits in this one either, guys. Can couples put both names? Yeah, you can put whatever name you want on it, guys. It doesn't. You don't need to be doing this on your own. And I'll even be generous, and both of you will get the points in the overall quiz. All right. So somebody saying not got the form. I'm just going to put. I'll post the form one more time on both formats, guys, just so that if any latecomers can see it. So it should be. I've just posted it again on YouTube, and I'll now go back into Facebook, and I will post it again on Facebook. All right. So if you bear with me, I'm actually going to post it on Facebook on the computer just because it's running a bit slow on my phone right now for reasons that are best known to someone else. So I'm just going to post it again, and I know that I'm procrastinating tonight, guys, but it is only because it's the first time we're doing it. Once you guys are up and running with the quiz, know what you're doing quite regularly, then we'll just zip through this first part. I'm hoping that the whole quiz normally will run over about an hour, but I'm assuming that tonight it'll probably be a bit longer because it's the first time we're done. So bear with me a second, right? I'm just going to go back into my current. Where am I? Comments here, and I will post the form on Facebook. So the form should be on Facebook now. So it says answer form, and then the form. So there you go, guys. So it's definitely posted on YouTube and Facebook now. So if somebody, again, just one person can maybe just tell me that they've got it on Facebook as well. All right. Brian Doyle says, I'll have you know, Christopher. And you know that it's bad when Chris is getting his Sunday name. I was the primary school champ, quizzing champ, North Dublin quizzing champ in my school. North Dublin, there can't have been a huge amount of competition in North Dublin. Oh, he didn't. No, I'm only joking, guys. One of the chasers is for Dublin now, the Menace. So there you go, it can't all be bad. Yeah, if somebody just lets me know if the form is opening okay on Facebook, I've just seen the link is definitely there. Bear in mind, sometimes comments are not always in order on Facebook. Sometimes it brings up most relevant, whatever it thinks is most relevant for whatever reason. So just make sure that you scroll right through to get that. But if somebody just lets me know that they've got the form up on Facebook, then that would be smashing. And I'll wait until someone does that. Nat Maskey, got my form fine. That's sitting poised. So I've just got this image here sitting with like because she's like there's no googling, but she's got like the Encyclopedia Britannica around and everything. Yes, the form is on Facebook, says Elizabeth McMillan. Grand. So in that case, guys, the question will be on your screen as well. I'm going to read them out. I've messed around with the text, so hopefully this should all work reasonably well. But round one, question one. Oh, sorry, I've got a bit excited there. So, in the acronym BSE, what word comes before spongiform encephalopathy? So there's one word that comes before that, the spongiform and encephalopathy is the S and the E. But in BSE, what word comes before that? So we're essentially looking for what does the B stand for in BSE. All right. So I'm just going to give you guys a couple of minutes on each question. If you miss a question, put it in the comments section and ask me to repeat it. I can do that, but try to be reasonable with it because we don't want. It's not fair on everybody else if I'm repeating loads of questions for one person. So if you miss a question, do let me know. But otherwise, just try to put the answers in the request anything in the comment section. Cool. Okay, guys, we're going to move on. Question number 2. Now, this one's a bit wordy, so I'm going to read it and then I'll explain what you mean. All right. Based on the definition of a desert being an area that is less than 10 inches of rain a year, which is the largest desert? So, what it's saying there is that the definition of a desert, to qualify as a desert, you have to be somewhere that has less than 10 inches of rain a year. So, based on that definition, what is the largest desert? All right, or where is the largest desert? You could word it that way as well. What is or where is the largest desert, based on the fact that it is somewhere that has less than 10 inches of rain per year. So that one needs a wee bit of thought, guys. All right, just a bit of lateral thinking with that. I'm just going to look and see if there's any more comments while I'm doing this. I suspect there'll be fewer comments tonight. Alex Simpson, I got the form on Facebook 10 minutes ago. Yeah, I think we should probably learn that if Richard Skeen says it's not there, it might be. That Maskio, can I phone a friend? That would require having friends. Oh, I'm on fire tonight. Alright, guys. Question number 3 of round 1. And sorry, this is going to annoy my LCD, but that's not quite straight on the screen there. That's it now. Which was the last British city to be named European Capital of Culture? So, what was the last British city? Dead easy one. Or as Chris Tam used to say, only easy if you know the answers. But if not, you can have a guess at a British city, can't you? So, what was the last British city to be named European Capital of Culture? Can't beat a bit of culture, guys. That's why you're here, isn't it? Everybody's needing a bit of culture. And that says, or Brian says to Natalie, can you not ask Dex, which for anyone who doesn't know is Chris and Natalie's wee boy. You could ask Dex, but he's 5 years old. So, mind you, we should do that one week. Just get Dex to randomly say words, and I bet he still scores more than Dick Scheme. Oh, he's cheeky tonight. Anyway. Okay, guys, I'm going to move on. Number 4. In which novel by Robert Louis Stevenson is the narrator a teenager named David Balfour? So it's a Robert Louis Stevenson novel, and it's narrated by David Balfour, who is a teenager. What's the name of that novel? I'll give you, well, I'm not going to give you any clues, but I'm just going to say the quiz is quite tough, guys. It is quite a tough quiz, because if it was too easy, you'd lose interest. At least this way, you're all going to learn something. So, in which Robert Louis Stevenson novel is David Balfour the narrator? I'll carry on in just a second, guys. And if anyone's just joining, or I know that people sometimes just scroll through Facebook, feel free to play along. Upload the form. If you join late one week, still play along just on your own and keep your own scores just for your own fun. But whatever you do, please don't put your comments in the answer section. I've done it again. Answers in the comments section. Please don't put your answer in the comments section, because it does ruin it for everyone. And you'll be a top fan waiting to happen. Okay, question 5. Situated in Peru and Bolivia, what is the largest navigable lake in the world? So, what's the largest lake in the world that is able to be navigated, and it's in Peru and Bolivia? So, if you just think of a lake that might be in that part of the world, you'll probably get this right. So, I'll read that again. Situated in Peru, what is the highest navigable, that says, but I think it should be navigatable lake in the world? Someone says, my hair is looking awful red on the screen. Someone says, was it just me, or did Zander start sounding like a Dalek? It may have been a connection issue, or maybe I just started talking like this. I didn't know. Alright, guys, going to move on, because, as I say, we don't want the quiz to go on all night. Question number 6. What was the Roman name for England? Straightforward question. What was the Roman name for England? My hair's looking awful red. I assume it's a combination of the light and the fact that I've got a red colour scheme on my thing now. If you're looking for any instructions, you'll notice up my top. So I always get my left and right when I'm mixed up, because I've got a mirror image on my screen. So up above me, here, this side, there, up there where my thumb's pointing, you'll see some instructions. And you'll also see some plugs for some stuff. I'll let you know as well about some other things that we've got coming up as the quiz goes on. So, number 7. In which century was Dick Turpin hanged as a highwayman? So, when was Dick Turpin hanged as a highwayman? Don't know what else he could have been hung as. So, question number 7. In which century was Dick Turpin hanged as a highwayman? So, I shall move on. Question number 8. What French term literally means according to the menu. So what French term literally means, according to the menu. It's a short phrase that you'll all have heard. It means according to the menu. Alright guys, going to move on. Question number 9. Americans refer to it as cotton candy, but what is it called in the UK? So, Americans call it cotton candy, but what do we call it here in the UK? So, common thing that you'll all have heard of. Americans call it cotton candy, but what do we call it? And last question of round 1. Who wrote the book Being Jordan? And I need the person's real name. Alright, so who wrote the book Being Jordan? And I'm looking for that person's real name. If you can only remember the surname, you'll get half a point for it. But if you put the wrong first name, you'll get no points. So if you can't remember a first name and you just put a surname, you'll get half a point. But if you put the wrong first name and the correct surname, you'll get no points. If you get the surname wrong, you'll get no points. So it really does just have to be either put the person, this goes for all people in the quiz, just put their surname if you're not sure of the first name, or if you are sure of the first name, put them both. Alright guys, so that's your 10 questions this round. If anyone wants any repeated, put it in the comments section, and I'll do that, but I will try to be reasonably quick with that, because I say otherwise, if everybody's asking for loads of questions repeated, we won't get anywhere with it. So I'll give you a couple of minutes, then I'll go through the answers. Once you've submitted, please hit next. I'm operating in a little bit of good faith with this, because theoretically you could wait until after I've read out the answers, and then you could fill it in, and then you could hit next. But to be honest, if you do that, I'm going to do the answers reasonably quickly. So if you were to do that, then you'll start missing the questions in the following round. So if somebody's asking for loads of questions to be repeated for the following round, then I'll know you've been cheating, and you'll be disqualified. And as I say, there's no Googling as well. If you wanted to cheat, you could just Google. So why would you cheat in any other way? You're not here to cheat. You're here to have a good time. Right, guys, I am going to read out the answers. There were some easier ones and there's some tougher ones as well, I think. But the answers for round 1. In the acronym BSE, what word comes before spongiform encephalopathy? So hang on, I'm just going to wait a second actually. Just to say, sorry, I should do this. I'm going to give you a 10-second countdown, and then if you haven't already, you all have to hit the submit button. Or not submit, you have to hit next. That'll move you on to round 2, alright? And then I'm carrying on, and I'm taking you in good faith here, guys. You don't change your answers afterwards. So you're going to get 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit submit, all answers in, and I'm now going to read out the answers for round 1. So in the acronym BSE, what word comes before spongiform encephalopathy? So it would have helped if you'd known that BSE is mad cow disease, so the B is for bovine. So BSE is bovine spongiform encephalopathy. Encephalopathy means disease of the brain, and spongiform relates to the type of bug. So there you go. So bovine is the answer to number 1. So if you put bovine, you will get an answer. You'll get a point. If you put anything else, you won't. Question number 2 was, based on the definition that a desert is an area that's less than 10 inches of rainfall a year, which is the largest. Well, based on that definition, it is Antarctica. Because Antarctica doesn't get 10 inches of rainfall a year. It gets much less than that because it's all frozen. So based on that definition, that's why it was important to give you this definition. Antarctica is the largest desert in the world. I have accepted the Antarctic or Antarctica for that, guys. If you've written anything else, you won't get the point. Alright, moving on to number 3. What was the last British city to be capital of culture? It was Liverpool. So Liverpool was the last city to be named European Capital of Culture. This is a bit disconcerting because normally when I do my show, the comment section's going mad because everybody's trying to answer the quiz with the comments. And this time I've specifically told you not to do that, so there's hardly any comments. So it's actually like, I'm like, are people still there? But every now and then, Mel's just posted saying, evening all, sorry, this clashes with my son's bath time. Just don't give him a bath. He's for faultless. Now, number 3. Kenny Skeen, tell you what, Bradley Walsh is safe in his job. Listen, I can be quicker than this, but I'm trying to give you all a chance. If you want me to whiz through them, I can whiz through them. Don't you worry. All right, we'll go on to quiz question number 3. Number 4. What novel by Robert Louis Stevenson is narrated a teenager named David Balfour? It's called Kidnapped. So that is a novel by Robert Louis Stevenson called Kidnapped. Move on. Question number 5. Situated in Peru and Bolivia, the highest navigable mountain in the lake in the world, is Lake Titicaca, or Lake Bibishite, as we call it in Scotland. Number 6. The Roman name for England is Albion, as in West Bromwich, Albion. Albion was the Roman name for England. Number 7. Dick Turpin was hanged as a highwayman in the 18th century. It was actually in 1739 specifically. But you don't need to know that. Just if you put 18th century or 18th, you'll get the point. Question number 8. What French term means, according to the menu, it's a la carte? Question number 9. Cotton candy would be called candy floss in the UK. And question number 10. Being Jordan was, of course, written by Katie Price. Cool, right, I'm going to move on to round 2, guys, and we'll try to speed things up a wee bit. As I say, just going slowly at first because it's new to us all. Hopefully you've got the hang of the form. Hopefully everybody's pushed next and it brings you on to round 2. And we'll see how you're all doing. So round 2 is all about 90s movies, guys. So we'll see how well you know your 90s movies. I'm sure everybody's old enough to remember 90s movies in this. Angelica Houston is Morticia, and Rule Julia is Gomez, in which 1991 film directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. So Angelica Houston is Morticia, Rule Julia is Gomez, in which 1991 film directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. And that's probably the easiest, or one of the easiest questions in the quiz, so I'm going to move on. Surely you don't need too much time to think about that. Okay. Number 2. Martin Landau played Geppetto in which 1996 film directed by Steve Barron? I'm going to be specific about this. If you give me the correct name exactly of the movie, you'll get a point. If you give me something that one of the words in the title of the movie, you'll get half a point. Alright, so if you get the exact title of the movie, it's a point. If you only get partially the title of the movie, it's half a point. Martin Landau played Geppetto in which 1996 film directed by Steve Barron? Alright, question number 3. Who plays Jim Lovell in the 1995 film Apollo 13? So I'm sure you can all think of people who starred in that movie, but which one of them played Jim Lovell? 1995 film Apollo 13. Great film. Okay, going to move on, guys. Number 4. Directed by Martin Scorsese, Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, Winona Ryder and Richard E. Grant star in which film about a wealthy lawyer? Bit trickier this one, I think. So it's a Martin Scorsese film from the 90s starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, Winona Ryder and Richard E. Grant. And it was about a wealthy lawyer. What was the name of that movie? And we shall move it along a little bit. Alex Simpson, did I get it for Kate Price? No, do you know what? I even gave you different spellings of Katie on my form. I thought it's Katy, as well as Katie. But no, you're not getting it for Kate, largely because it's not her name. Question number 5. Harrison Ford plays President James Marshall in which 1997 film directed by Wolfgang Petersen? I can tell you it's a great film. Loads of you will have seen it. So Harrison Ford was the president in which 1997 film directed by Wolfgang Moving on. Question number 6. Who plays Lester Burnham in the 1999 film American Beauty? So, Lester Burnham in the 1999 film American Beauty. Just while I'm doing this, guys, I'm just going to tell you that as I say, the layout of the Friday night show will be a bit different as well, as you can see on the screen. It's going to follow a similar format. There's going to be some new stuff coming. I've got some new software. I can do some more clever things, so I'm still trying to work all that out. But what I do have is a merchandise store. Ooh, so you'll be able to get Jammin Doctor mugs that a couple of people have asked about. You'll be able to get Jammin Doctor t-shirts. I've actually got an array of t-shirts. I've even got a couple of Alex Simpson t-shirts. I've got a couple of It's Never Charles Aznavour t-shirts. And of course, the Uptown Funk You Up. For anybody who's not seen my dad's performance of Uptown Funk You Up, it's worth catching. Anyway, moving on, question number 7. Who plays Angela in the 1999 film Angela's Ashes? It's based on a famous book, but who played Angela in the film in 1999? And I'll just move on quite quickly. Jack Nicholson stars opposite Helen Hunt in what 1997 film directed by James L. Brooks? So Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt starred in what 1997 film directed by James L. Brooks? Is another brilliant film. I'll give you a big clue here by saying Jack Nicholson won the Oscar for it in that year, 1997. It was the same year that Titanic won like a gazillion Oscars, but Jack Nicholson won the Oscar for Best Actor for this movie in 1997, opposite Helen Hunt, and directed by James L. Brooks. Question number 9. Who plays Vanessa Kensington in the 1997 Austin Powers film, also starring Mike Myers? So, who plays Vanessa Kensington in Austin Powers? As you'll know, starring Mike Myers, 1997 movie. And I'm going to move on to the last question of the round. Question number 10. Robert De Niro is Leonard Lowe, and Robin Williams is Dr. Sawyer, in which Penny Marshall directed 1990 film? So we're looking for a film made in 1990, starring Robert De Niro and Robin Williams. Robin Williams plays a doctor. Robert De Niro plays Leonard Lowe. And again, this is a brilliant movie. Anyway, I'll tell you the answer shortly, and I'll just recommend it highly to you. I'll give you a bit more trivia for you if anybody knows. A guy called Oliver Sacks, who's a famous neurologist. He wrote this book based on a real story, and then it was made into a film with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams. So if anybody wants any questions repeated, I'll give you maybe 10, 20 seconds to type something in, tell me if you want anything repeated, and then I can do that. In the meantime, I'm going to get a glass of water because all this talking's drying me out. Give you a wee chance to think about some of the answers. Let me know if you want any requests. That's the Friday night. Let me know if you want anything repeated, and then we'll give you the 10-second countdown, and we will get your answers in. All right. And I'm back. So let's just see some of your comments here. No, I'm asking, so I'm definitely getting a t-shirt or two. I've still got the Nat the Shark t-shirt to make up, but I've not done it yet. What number was the level question? Right, he's away. What's the answer to question 10? Level was number 3. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. But I shall quickly double check and then I'll give you a big 10-second countdown. I'll need to get, I think there's probably a clever app I can get to do a countdown rather than me just saying it. But I shall just read out. Question number 3 was gym level, yeah. So there it is. There, gym level. Grand, so I'll give you 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit this next button. You should be on to round 3. It'll give you all the same options, and I will read out the answer, sorry. Alright, so the answer to question number 1, again, probably the easiest question in the entire quiz. Angelica Houston's Morticia, Raul Julia is Gomez. It was, of course, the Addams Family. I've accepted Addams Family, the Addams Family. I've accepted Addams Family spelt with 1D and 2. So you can't complain. If you've done anything other than that, you've got no points. Question number 2, Martin Landau was Geppetto in The Adventures of Pinocchio. So you get a point if you've put The Adventures of Pinocchio, you get half a point if you've put Pinocchio, and you get no points if you've put anything else. So if you thought you were being smart and trying to get, maybe it's, The Life of Pinocchio or some 0 points, you'll get half a point if it's Pinocchio, and you'll get 1 point if you've put The Adventures of Pinocchio. Who played Jim Lovell in Apollo 13? It was, of course, Tom Hanks. Another easy one. This was a bit trickier. Martin Scorsese movie with Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, Winona Ryder, Richard D. Grant. It is called The Age of Innocence. Can't say I've ever heard of it or ever seen it, but there you go. Question 5. Harrison Ford is the president in Air Force One. Brilliant film if anybody's not seen it. Well worth watching. And another great film by somebody who is a bit disgraced now. Kevin Spacey was Lester Burnham in American Beauty. The disgraced sex beast Kevin Spacey. Question number 7. Who played Angela in Angela's Ashes? It was Emily Watson. Question number 8. Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt were in As Good as It Gets. Classic movie. As I say, Jack Nicholson won the Oscar for that. Question number 9. Vanessa Kensington in Austin Powers was Liz Hurley. So again, I've accepted Liz Hurley or Elizabeth Hurley. And question number 10, and I say this is well worth catching. This movie is really, really good. Robert De Niro and Robin Williams starred in Awakenings. Brilliant film. And that Muskey says Age of Innocence is great. Alex says, do I get it for Air Force One and the number 1? I'm not going to lie, I can't remember if I put that in as an option or not. I think I probably will have, but I really can't remember. So you might have, you might not have. Who knows? Alright guys, on to round 3. Round 3 is all about sport. The topics of the rounds will be different each week. There'll always be a general knowledge one to start, and round 5 will always have a theme that I will come to when we get to round 5. But beyond that, the other rounds I'll just interchange with whatever's in my head at the time. But for this week, round 3 is sports. And the first question is, who is England's most capped football player? So, dead. Simple question. Again, if you only get the surname, which would seem unlikely with this question, but if you only get the surname, you'll get half a point. If you get both names, you'll get the full point. But if you get the surname wrong, even if it's the right first name, no points. So who's England's most capped footballer? Dead simple one, guys. Going to move on. Question number 2. When was the Calcutta Cup first played between England and Scotland? So what year was the first Calcutta Cup? For those of you who don't know, Calcutta Cup was I was going to tell you when it was first played there because it flashed on my screen. It is the rugby in the 5 nations or the 6 nations as it is now. Scotland and England compete for the Calcutta Cup. But what year was it first played? And I think I'm right in saying that when I made this up, I decided I was going to be generous. I'll give you half a point if you get either side of this. If you get it exactly, you'll get it the point. It was the Calcutta Cup recently, so when you were watching, if you might have heard them mention it, we'll give you the answer. Question number 3. How many Grand Slams has Andy Murray won? And again, I'll be generous and tell you for anyone who doesn't know that Andy Murray's a tennis player. And the Grand Slams are the 4 major tournaments in tennis. See if I can remember what they are. French Open, US, Australian and Wimbledon. So how many of those has Andy Murray won? So it's not how many different Grand Slams he's won, it's how many he's won in total. So if he's won one of those more than once, you count it as more than once. So it's how many in total he's won. Question number 4. What event did Jessica Ennis-Hill win gold at the London Olympics in 2012? So what did Jessica Ennis-Hill get gold in London 2012? I mean, you remember it was Super Saturday and Mo Farah won and the wee ginger jumper won. And then went on to write loads of songs and have hits with like the A-Team and Thinking Out Loud and all that. So he's done well for himself. Question number 5. Again, simple question. Who's Britain's most decorated Olympian? So, which Britain has got the most gold medals, in other words? Now I'm asking who asked, what does capped mean? I think if you don't know what capped means, your chances of actually getting the answer are pretty slim. But it means that if you play for your country, then they used to, they maybe still do physically give you a cap every time you play. But nowadays it's just used as a term to denote how many times you've played for your country. So if somebody's been capped 100 times, it means they've appeared 100 times for their country. So there you go. What question are we up to? Question number 6. This question will go down well in Scotland, but I've taken all these questions off the internet and I couldn't be bothered changing it. Time for a cricket question. Who is England's all-time top run scorer? So we'll see. There might be some cricket fans out there, who knows? So who is England's all-time top run scorer in the cricket? And question number 7 is another cricket one. So I'll just get them both out of the way. And who's England's all-time top wicket taker? I don't even know what that means. A wicket taker, somebody who takes wickets apparently, and somebody who runs a lot or something. Brian Doyle's written, Andy Murray is British if he wins a major competition, but he's Scottish when he loses. Yep, that old chestnut. Andy Murray, Scotland's finest. Oh, when he loses. So anyway, that is question number 7. So I'll just, because I did both those back to back reasonably quickly because they're kind of related. So question number 6 was who's England's all-time top run scorer in cricket, and question number 7 is who is England's all-time top wicket taker in cricket. Question number 8. Who was the first person to run the 4-minute mile? Or run the mile in under 4 minutes. So who was the first person to run a mile in under 4 minutes? And again, I'm sure most of you will have heard of this guy, even if it's in the tip of your tongue. I'm sure most of you will have heard it. So, first person to run the mile in under 4 minutes. Question number 9. How many players make up the Ryder Cup team? So, how many players are on the Ryder Cup team? So, again, for those of you who may not know, the Ryder Cup is a golf competition. It happens biannually, and it's the United States versus Europe playing in teams. How many players on each team in the Ryder Cup? And last question of the round, question number 10. Whereabout is the World Darts Championship held every year? And we're looking for the specific venue, not just the city. So we're looking for the specific venue it's held in, not just the city. Alright, so again, I'll give you a wee minute. Let me know if there's any questions you want repeated. Now I'm asking you, I've said the one cricketer I've heard of for both questions. It's as good a strategy as any. Do you know what? I've got this funny feeling, right? I've done this quiz to try and give other people a chance to try and catch Nat up on the quiz, and I've got this horrible feeling that she's going to win this one as well, and it's just going to be a shambles. I was watching their live stream on Friday night just after mine, and it took, I'm not exaggerating, it took Nat, I would say, about 5 seconds to mention how many points she had got in the quiz. I think Chris said something like, "What's happening?" and she went, "Queen of the quiz." So, and then she followed up by saying, "I'm slightly embarrassed, but not really." So anyway, I'm going to assume that no one wants anything else repeated, and I'm going to crack on. I will say 10-ish, 9, 8. If you interrupt me when I'm doing the countdown, I will stop and repeat the question. 7, 6, 5. I definitely get an app for this. Me counting down like a schmuck. 4, 3, 2. Boom. And someone has commented, but it's just not saying she's less confident with this quiz. Right, cool. So the answers then, guys. So question number 1 was, who is the most capped player in English football history? It is not David Beckham, as some of you may have thought it was. It is Peter Shilton. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, it is Peter Shilton. Wayne Rooney is second with 120 caps, but Peter Shilton is the most capped player. Wayne Rooney is the most capped outfield player, and then David Beckham. But prior to this, reading this question, I thought it was David Beckham, but there you go. Question number 2. The Calcutta Cup was first competed between England and Scotland in 1781. And it reliably tells us here that the fixture has been played 136 times. England have won 75, Scotland 43, and 19 draws. But I don't know if that 43 includes the most recent, which would make it 44. But the correct answer is 1781. If you went 1871. If you went 1870 or 1872, you get half a point. How many Grand Slams has Andy Murray won? He's won 3. He's won the US Open in 2012, Wimbledon in 2013, and then Wimbledon again in 2016. Question number 4. What did Jess Ennis win at the Olympics on Super Saturday? She won the heptathlon. So, the heptathlon, guys. So Mel's asked, I've just come out of the form by mistake. Does it mean I've lost all the answers? The answer to that is I don't know. I think it depends how you've come out of the form. So as I was saying earlier, I think if you've come out of it and you've closed it down, I think you'll have lost it. I think if you've just minimised it, then it should still be there. But I don't know. You can tell us, Mel. You can tell us what happens if you come out of the form. Question number 5. Who's Britain's most decorated Olympian? Not Chris Hoy, as I thought it was as well, but it's Bradley Wiggins, who has 8 medals, just ahead of Chris Hoy and Jason Kenny. So it's actually Sir Bradley Wiggins has got the most. But there you go. Jason Kenney's expected to become the most if he competes in Tokyo. Anyway, question number 6. Cricket. I'm going to skip over these because I doubt anybody. Well, maybe not. But Alistair Cook has got the most runs with 12,000. That sounds ridiculous to me, but there you go. So Alistair Cook is the English player with the most test runs, and Jimmy Anderson or James Anderson has got the most wickets. So I've accepted Jimmy or James Anderson. Never heard of him. No, near about. Question 8. First person to run the mile in under 4 minutes was, of course, Sir Roger Bannister. In 1954, at the time, it was a big feat. I think nowadays they blitz those kind of times. I know they don't run miles in competitive racing anymore, it's all in metres. But that time would not. I mean, I think people now run marathons in almost 4 minute miles for the full 26 miles. So it just shows how far we've come, guys. Not me, because I couldn't run the length of myself, but as a species. Right, question number 9. How many players in the Ryder Cup team? Each team's got 12 players. So 12 players in each team for a total of 28 games to be played. But the answer is 12. And the Darts Championship, if you're a Darts fan, you'll know this. It's the Alexandra Palace, also known as the Ali Pali. So I'll accept either of those, Ali Pali or the Alexandra Palace. Good stuff. Mel, just let us know if you are able to get back in the form. It will be useful to know for future reference. Round 4 is in the news. So this is all about stuff that has happened in the last week, guys. So this is all stuff that has happened in the last week or so. So just bear that in mind when you're answering your questions. So, question number 1. Unusual levels of rainfall have caused waterfalls on which iconic Australian rock? So what iconic Australian rock has waterfalls been formed on this week due to unusual levels of rainfall? So if you've been watching the news this week, then you'll get it. This could be where it all falls down for Nat Maschio, because her and Chris are up till about 8 in the morning every morning doing their stream, so she's probably not seen the news. Or maybe that's just Chris, I don't know. Nat, did you just go to his bed? I was texting Chris the other day. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon and he was still in his bed. He says, Doctor, should I still be in bed at this time? I says, it depends what time you went to sleep, because you should get 8 hours sleep, so unless you went to bed at 8 o'clock in the morning, then no, you should be out of bed. He says, well, no, it was 6 in the morning. So he said, but I have been up for 2 hours. I went, well, there you go. You're living a healthy lifestyle. Question number 2. What was the name of the container ship that ran aground in the Suez Canal this week? So there's a ship that blocked the Suez Canal. What was the name of the ship? This was coincidence, but this was the question for the big prize in Saturday Night Takeaway on Saturday night. So if anybody watched Saturday Night Takeaway, you'll know this. What was the name of the container ship that ran aground in the Suez Canal this week? Aye. But Chris was fighting with his internet when I had messaged him. I don't know if they got it sorted. But I said to him, when he told me he was still in his bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I said, get out your bed and get that or dinner made. He says, hey, I'm working. I'm trying to get the internet sorted. I went, all right, fine. Tell her to get your dinner made then. If he's a working man, you know what I mean? Question number 3. Why is the £50 note featuring scientist Alan Turing being released into circulation on the 23rd of June? So Alan Turing is going to go on the £50 note, and it's been released into circulation on the 23rd of June. For those of you who don't know who Alan Turing was a famous mathematician and scientist who made the Enigma machine, which was fundamental in breaking Nazi codes that essentially won us the Second World War. The guy was a bit of a hero, but he was then castrated or arrested and then castrated for being gay. So that was a good thank you, wasn't it? Won us the war, was arrested and was chemically castrated and committed suicide as a result. So there we go. I bet he's delighted he's got a £50 note. That makes it all right. You know, you win us the war, you beat the Nazis. That's what they did you for being gay. But hey, get your face in the £50 note. But why is it being released on the 23rd of June? And again, this for that answer, I've put a few different permutations of the wording of that, but don't start your answer with because it is or whatever. Just put 2 or 3 words that you think captures why that would be the case. 1, 2, 3 words, something like that. Don't go writing big sentences or you'll get no points. Question number 4. In America, now this is one that if you've seen it, you'll get it right. If you've been watching the news this week, you might have seen it, you might get it right. If you haven't, you've no chance, but you might as well have a guess. In America, a man was paid his final wage by a disgruntled ex-employer in the form of how many pennies? So this guy had pissed off his boss when he was leaving because he did that thing that probably most of us want to do in his last day of work. He was like, "You guys, I'm going home," and so his boss paid him his last wage in pennies. How many pennies was it? Question number 5. Which former Conservative politician has been investigated for breaking rules regarding lobbying that he himself was instrumental in setting up? So again, it's been in the news this week that a former Tory politician has been getting into bother for lobbying, and it was partly him that brought in the rules against lobbying in the first place. What is the name of that politician? Yeah. That Masco says, I haven't seen the news, but I still you know. Can I take a guess? Yeah, I know. There are some answers like that. You could have a bit, I guess, couldn't you? Brian Dog says, if you want to learn more about Turing, please watch the Imitation Game. Sorry, yeah, the Imitation Game is another great movie with Benedict Cumberbatch. Really good movie. You're spot on, Brian. Mel saying she can't find the form. Looks like it's totally closed down. Lost all my answers. So just be careful, guys. That's why I'm saying maybe worth just for future if you haven't already have an extra device at hand that you can comment on and things, so that you don't need to come out of the form because Mel's just lost all her answers like a schmuck. They'd all been wrong anyway. Jonas Hill, question number 6. Oh, sorry, Jonesy's Hill would. What? I wrote this question. Jonesy's Hill Wood is starting to be cleared to make way for HS2. But what book did the wood apparently inspire Roald Dahl to write? For God's sake. Kenny, you're right. Bradley Walsh is not to worry about. I'll try that again, right? Jones Hill Wood is starting to be cleared. So it's a wood that they're knocking down, right? A forest that they're knocking down. So Jones Hill Wood, it's called. It's been cleared to make way for HS2. But what book did the wood apparently inspire Roald Dahl to write? So Roald Dahl wrote a book based on, or inspired them to write, based on that forest, that Jones Hill Wood. So that's the question. It's been cleared to make way for HS2, but what book did it inspire Roald Dahl to write? That was far too difficult. That question is easier to answer than it was for me to say. Question number 7. Paul Michael Glaser became 78 this week. But in what 70s TV show did he become famous? So this will show your age, guys. Paul Michael Glaser became 78 this week. But in what 70s TV show did he become famous? So, big 70s TV show. Question number 8. Frank Worthington sadly passed away this week. He's credited for scoring one of the great goals in English football in 1979. For which team whilst playing against Ipswich? So Frank Worthington, famous footballer of the 70s, passed away this week. He played for Chelsea amongst other teams, including the answer to this question that we're looking for. Which team was he playing for when he scored against Ipswich? It's not Chelsea. And it's credited as being one of the greatest goals in English football. Alright, question number 9. Scottish question. What is the name of the new political party founded by Alex Salmond this week? So Alex Salmond, another disgraced person, he has started his own new party. What was the name of that party? Again, it's been all over the news if you've been watching the news this week. What is the name of the new political party founded by Alex Salmond? And last question around is question number 10. So, to the nearest 5 million. So the answer is a divisible of 5 million, guys. How many people in the UK have now received their first COVID vaccine? Or at least their first. So we hit a new milestone this week for how many people in the UK have now had at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. It is a divisible of 5 million to the nearest 5 million. How many people have received that first dose? And again, I'm going to give you a second or so just to see if you can want any questions repeated. And if not, we'll just carry on with the answers. And then we'll go into the final round, which I shall explain for you when we get to, because that one's a little bit different. And we have now got. I'm just looking there. We've been streaming for about an hour now, and given that we've still got a round to go, but that I've also spent a bit more time explaining things this week than I normally would, I suspect this quiz will probably run over an hour or so, which will be hopefully not too long for you, but long enough to get the old grey matter going, guys. Alrighty, I am going to move on. Oh no, Dougie Allen wants question 3, no problem, Dougie. I shall go back up to question number 3. So, where did we get to? Question number 3 was, why is the £50 note featuring scientist Alan Turing being released into circulation on the 23rd of June? So, as I say, there is a specific reason I've chosen that date. Why have they chosen that date in particular? And as I say, for that question, don't be given a big, long, convoluted answer. Just 1, 2, or 3 words. Something that can be expressed in a few words is the answer you're looking for, alright? I'm just looking to see if there's any other. Question 5 says, Dougie, no problem. And question number 5 was, which former Conservative politician has been investigated for breaking rules regarding lobbying that he himself was instrumental in setting up? So which politician has been investigated for breaking lobbying rules that he was partly responsible for implementing in the first place? And if there's nothing else, again, I'll give you maybe 10 seconds or so. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Who needs fancy apps? I can just use my fingers last. Right, so hit the next button, please, guys. And it should take you onto the answers page for round 5. And I will read out the answers for round 4. So, first one, unusual levels of rainfall have caused waterfalls in which iconic Australian rock? It's now known as Uluru, because it's gone back to its Aboriginal name, which you probably should have, but it is known as Ayers Rock, so if you've put Ayers Rock, you'll still get the point, but if you've put Uluru, then you'll also get the point. So I've been generous here to get a point for both, although it is now known as Uluru. Question number 2 was the name of the container ship that was aground in the Suez Canal this week. So this was actually the question for all the prizes on Saturday Night Takeaway. You get no prizes if you got it right here, but it is called Ever Given. So it was Ever Given. Question number 3. Why is a £50 note featuring Alan Turing being released on the 23rd of June? It's because it's the anniversary of his birthday. I've accepted his birthday, it's his birthday, anniversary of his birthday. So I've accepted as many permutations of that as I can think of. It may be the case that you've not got the exact wording that I've got, guys, because I've put a few different versions of it, but hopefully something will work. Alright. Question number 4. In America, a man was paid his final wage by a disgruntled ex-employer. How much was he paid? It was how many pennies? 91,500. So it was $915 was his last wage, and he was paid it entirely in pennies. I'd say that's one of those that if you've seen it on the news, you'll know. If you've not, you've no chance, guys. But either way, it's 91500 is the answer that we're looking for. So, question number 5. Which former Conservative politician has been investigated this week? It's David Cameron. So he implemented anti-lobbying laws when he was Prime Minister, and now he's been investigated for breaking them. Schmuck! Question number 6. Took me a bit of getting this out, but hopefully it'll make sense to you. So Jones Hill Wood was being cleared, but what book did it inspire Roald Dahl to write? It was Fantastic Mr. Fox. So if you know your Roald Dahl, that one was probably quite straightforward. Question number 7. Paul Michael Glaser was in Starsky and Hutch. Don't know what one he was. Somebody will probably tell me in the comment section. But he was famous for being in Starsky and Hutch. Question number 8. Frank Wortham passed away. What team was he playing for when he scored against Ipswich a wonder goal 1979? It was Bolton. Accepted Bolton or Bolton Wanderers. Not Kill says she put Arseface McGee for the politician one. Yeah, that's not. So I'm just reading this. So my dad said, I've done the same as Mel and lost the answer sheet. I've submitted round 4. If you've hit next, you've not submitted the form. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you hit next, it's only you've not submitted the form. It only takes you to the next page of the form. So you've lost that, I'm afraid, guys. There might be a better way to do this in future, but all I can say is don't close that page down, because as I say, if you do, I think you've lost it. If you've hit next, you've not submitted the form, so those answers will not be registered anyway. The new political party that Alex Salmond founded is ALBA, which is the Roman word for Scotland. And number 10 is the nearest 5 million. How many people in the UK have now had their first COVID vaccine? It's 30 million. So there have been 30 million people who've had it. Okay, number 5. Now I'm going to explain this round. This is called connections, alright? So questions 1 to 9 will all have answers as any other quiz question would. And question 10 is what links them all. So all the answers will be linked. So by the time you've got a few answers, you might have seen the pattern, you might start to know, and that will maybe allow you to get some of the other answers that you haven't got. So just have a think about that. All these answers are linked in some way up until question 10. And if you get the link between them all, you'll get 5 points, alright? So question number 1 of round 5. 26 men have won the Olympic 100 metres in athletics, and 15 of them have shared the same nationality. So what nationality? And we're looking for the nationality, alright? Not the name of the country, just to be specific. So if it was Scotland, which it wouldn't surprise you to hear it isn't, the nationality is Scottish. So the answer would be Scottish, not Scotland. Alright, so we're looking for the nationality, not the name of the country. As I say, it doesn't seem like an important distinction, but it will make sense in terms of the link between all the countries. All the questions, excuse me. Question number 2. Who, along with Bill Oddie, co-presented the BBC's Autumn Watch? So, who presented the BBC's Autumn Watch along with Bill Oddie? And if you're struggling for that one, as I say, just wait till we've had some of the other questions, and if you've got what the link is, then you might be able to work it out. Question number 3. What was the name of William Wordsworth's Lake District home? So, what was the name of William Wordsworth's Lake District home? Again, you might have seen a pattern start to emerge, but if you haven't, don't worry. You can always go back to these questions once you've seen what the pattern is. If you see a pattern, you might not. Question number 4. What gourd-like squash? And I'm not going to lie, I don't know what a gourd is, but what gourd-like squash is commonly used during autumn time to make lanterns? So, which gourd-like squash is commonly used during autumn to make lanterns? I'm sure you've all got that one. That's probably the joint easiest question in the quiz. Question number 5. Which glam rock band in the 70s was best known for the song Tiger Feet? Which glam rock band in the 70s was best known for the song Tiger Feet? Again, a band I'm sure most of you have heard of. I'll move on. Question number 6. Who played the roles of Jerry and Daphne in the film Some Like It Hot? And we're looking for one person for that, it's not two people. So it's Jerry and Daphne. Because that is in the movie, the two leads had to dress up and to try to avoid, I think, the mafia or something. I'm not entirely sure, but the two male leads had to dress up as females. So we're looking for the person that played Jerry and Daphne. One person we're looking for. Question number 7. Who had hits in the 80s with Caribbean Queen and When the Going Gets Tough, the Tough Get Going? So who had hits in the 1980s with Caribbean Queen and When the Going Gets Tough, Tough Get Going? And I'll just tell you at this point, for any of these answers in this round that are people's names, it is the surname that is part of the theme. Alright? So if any of the answers in this round are names, the surname is part of the theme. Alright, that makes sense. Question number 8. Havarti and Monterey Jack are both varieties of which type of food? That's Havarti and Monterey Jack are both varieties of which type of food? And question number 9. Name the record label founded by the Beatles in 1968. So in 1968, the Beatles started their own record label. What was it called? And for question number 10, for 5 points. Ooh. The above, so all the answers that you've just read, are all types of what? Now I'm going to say this. This should be a one-word answer. Alright? For question number 10, we're looking for a one-word answer. So don't write they are all types of whatever. Don't write they are all, or they are all varieties of, or they're all. Just write they are all types of what, and we're looking for a one-word answer. Now bear in mind that, as I said before, for questions where we have asked for someone's name, or the name of a place that contains two words, it is the last name that is a type of something that fits in with the theme. Alright? So, for example, for the singer, the singer's last name is a type of something. For the residence that we were looking for, it is the last word of the residence is a type of something. All right, so for the TV presenter, it's their surname that is a type of something, and all the other answers can also be a type of something. All right, so just a one-word answer for question 10. They're all types of what, and it should be a one-word answer. You can put it in singular form or plural form. I will accept both, but it should be a one-word answer that they're all types of something. So have a think about that. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to hear. And that was question 3 repeated. At this stage, I think that's probably favourite to win, not because she has the best knowledge, but because I think at this moment in time she's the only person who has not lost her form. So question number 3 was, what was the name of William Wordsworth's Lake District home? What was the name of William Wordsworth's Lake District home? And Richard Skeen wants questions 1 to 5 repeated, although that could be for round 1, but I will just quickly repeat questions 1 to 5 for you, Richard, alright? So question number 1 was 26 men have won the Olympic 100 metres in athletics. 15 have shared the same nationality. Which nationality? And again, we're looking for the nationality, not the country, in order for it to fit in with the team. Question number 2. Who, along with Bill Oddie, presented the BBC's Autumn Watch? And remember, for these ones, if you don't remember the first name, just put the surname. Or if you don't know it, then you might still have a guess with something that might fit in with the team. Question number 3. What was the name of William Wordsworth's Lake District home? Question number 4. Which gourd-like squash is commonly used during autumn to make lanterns? Question number 5. Which glam rock band of the 70s was best known for the song Biography? Funny, I've only just seen a comment for earlier, but Nat Maskio said, I put Arseface McGee for the politician one. Clearly that should be a point. No, I'm sorry, it's actually Arseface McTavish. So, unfortunately, no points. So, I'm going to just give you another wee minute or so because this one needs a wee bit of thinking about. So, I'm just going to step away from the computer again just to fill up my water. This is killing my throat more than singing, doesn't it? I don't know why. Anyway, so have a wee think about that one, guys. They're all types of what for question 10. It's worth 5 points, so it could make all the difference. And I will give you another minute or two. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to repeat. And then once you're done, finally, you should now be able to hit the submit button and your answers will come through to me. It'll take me a wee 2 minutes to organise that and bring up your scores. But while we're doing that, what I'll ask you to do is post what your scores have been that you've been counting up yourself, or how you think you've done, what your estimate is, and we can see how your estimate will compare to how you actually score. All right, but I'll give you another couple of minutes. Let me know if there's anything else you want to repeat. So it doesn't look as though there's anything else anybody wants to repeat. So I'm going to just go 10, 9, how many is that? 8, 8. I don't know. Can't do it. Oh, there is 7, 6. Oh no, wait, somebody's commented. Might be looking for something else. All submitted. Right, fine. So I'm going to look and see if your answers are on my screen yet. So just again, while you're doing that, guys, hit the submit button if you haven't already, and just in the comments section somewhere, just let me know how you think you've done. If you've got an idea, everybody who's played along, all right, because now that even if you've only been playing on 2 devices, you've not been able to comment tonight. Now that you've submitted the form, you'll be able to comment. So go back in and comment, and just everybody give me an estimation of how many you think you've got. All right, it's out of 54. Bear in mind there are 50 questions, and the last one is worth 5, so it's out of 54. So let me know how you think you've done out of 54. And also give me a wee estimate of what you think the winning score will be. So that's your challenge for me, alright, guys? What you think you've scored and what you actually think the winning score will be. And I'm just going to give it a few seconds for your comments to come through. Oh, I've not actually read out. I'm saying let me know how you think you've done. I've not actually read out your comments here, have I? The answers to the final question. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, guys. All right. So I will read out these answers. So question number one. Sorry, for some reason my screen has frozen a bit, so hopefully you can still actually hear what I'm talking about. I'm just going to. There we go. That's better now. Sorry about that. So question number one was the country or the nationality of the guys who have won the most 100 metres, and that was American. So they were all, or not all of them, but 15 out of 28 are American. Question number two, who presented with Bill Oddie? It was Kate Humble. So Kate Humble presented Up Much with Bill Oddie. Question number three was William Wordsworth's home. It was Dove Cottage. So Dove Cottage was question number three. Question number four was the fruit that is carved in autumn time is of course pumpkin. Question number five, who'd I hit with tiger feet? If you said mud, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. I've been sitting on that joke. I've been fighting the temptation to do that joke since that question came up. It's tremendous. Anyway, number six was the star of Some Like It Hot was Jack Lemmon. Number seven was hits with When the Going Gets Tough. In the 80s was Billy Ocean. Number eight was Monterey Jack and Harvarte are both types of they are both types of cheese. Number nine was the Beatles set up which record label? It was Apple. And what was the last one? Well, before I give you that, I'll scroll back through it and you can have a think about this. Because we have got apple, cheese, pumpkin, mud, American, cottage, humble. The answer is they are all types of pie. So I will accept pie or pies. You can have apple pie, cheese pie, ocean pie, humble pie, lemon pie, and American pie or mud pie. So they're all types of pies. So the only answer I'm accepting for your 5 points there are pie or pies. So well done if you got that, guys. Okie dokie, so I should now hopefully be able to bring up your answers. So just bear with me a second. This will just take a bit of time. I'm just looking at some of your comments here. Nat Masky, I can't remember if I already read this one, but I'm going to read it anyway. Said, God, I wasn't counting. Did fine in the movie round. Everything else was a bit shite, I think. I bet you've not done as badly as you think. Paul Patterson says, I can assure you no positive points for Paul Patterson. Now, that's got to be a t-shirt, isn't it? Positive points for Paul Patterson. Brian Doyle says, I think I did okay. Good for you, Brian. I'm glad someone's got confidence. Paul Patterson thinks he's got -2, which amuses me greatly because there are no minus points in this quiz. So if you've managed to get -2, you're doing extraordinarily well. And then he said 39. So I don't know if he thinks he got 39 or if 39 is the score that he is predicting the winner will get. Brian Doyle thinks he got 35 out of 54. I can assure you, Brian, if you have really got 35 out of 54, you will have won the quiz by a country mile because that is just the standard of player that you're up against. So I promise you that if you have got anywhere near that, then you are definitely, and we'll show you winning this. We have got, who have we got there? Mel thinks she's got 100. Well done, Mel. It's just a shame you couldn't get your form submitted in time, or you really could have had 100 points. So Mel, pretty sure. Oh, great! I've got 10 responses. Brilliant. So at least 10 of you have figured out how to do this, which is wonderful. So I'm just waiting on this. It doesn't normally take this long to download these things, but just because I'm streaming at the same time, it just makes things run a wee bit slow. That's okay. Now, spreadsheet, excellent. So this all seems to be working nicely. I'll just go back to reading some of your comments while I am waiting. Not Masculo says, I'm hoping I managed past 30. I think in this quiz, with some very tricky questions, I think 30 is a good score. Brian Doe says he thinks the winning score will be 48. I think you're vastly, vastly, vastly overestimating. Kenny Scheme reckons he's last. It reminds me of school reports. Must try harder. Well, Kenny, that is an absolute lie. I don't believe that for a second. You didn't go to school. Come on. There's no way that you actually went to school. So now we are bringing up. So I've got all your answers in front of me, but I'm just going to give it a wee minute. So if I now do that. So this is going to be interesting for two reasons. It'll be interesting to see who's won, but it'll be more interesting to see if this actually works, because I have tried my best, guys, to make this all a kind of automated system. And we will see how we go on. So no, some people have got some points, so at least some of these things have worked. Okay, let me have a look here. So, for some reason, only some of the points have actually come through here. So, the scores are much lower than you had predicted. I can tell you that for nothing. Not surprisingly. So, right. I'm going to go back to some of your comments just to see what all your predictions were before I actually bring this up here. Right, so I might have to make this a bit bigger or a bit smaller on my screen because some you have got two names on there and I wasn't expecting that, but that's fine. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh my goodness, my gosh, all right. I will, after the quiz is done, because I'm not going to make you all sit here for to do this. I will just skim through and see if there's anybody who should have got points that didn't, if because you just didn't quite match up my marking scheme. So I'm going to say Linda Steele thought she got 25. Nat Mascule says, "What's an ocean pie? It's like a fish pie." Alex Simpson says, I think we got 54 or 4, I'm not sure because I lost my answer form. Anybody with over 20 is brilliant. Richard Skeen thinks he got 8 out of 54, he thinks the winning score will be 32. Paul Patterson says 39 for the overall winner. Doug Ellen says, great fun, Zander. Thanks very much. Marion Simpson says, think I'm last, lucky if I got 5 points because I'm obviously a dumpling. Too hard. Oh, I'm sorry. So let me just look here. I'm going to just let me sort this by score so that I can do it in order of what people have scored, because that will add to the excitement, you see. So if I now go sort by row I, this is where I need somebody else, isn't it, to be filling the time while I'm doing this. Let's go. Boom. Oh my gosh, this is brilliant, by the way. It's all worked. I'm just shocked that my automated system has actually worked here. All right. So if I now go to wait for this. Oh, you'll be really impressed with this, by the way. How amazing is this? It's just a shame some of you lost your form because otherwise you would just be so impressed. I'm sure. All right, maybe not, but I'm impressed with myself. So. Alright, well, I'll just need to make it a bit smaller so it'll fit on my screen and hopefully it's still big enough for you to see. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the first ever Jammin Doctor pub quiz is dun dun dun. It is John and Liz McMillan. Brilliant stuff. So John and Liz McMillan won with 33 points. So you can see there on round one, the 7, round 2, 7, round 3 was the movie quiz, I think, wasn't it? No, round 3 was sport, which didn't do quite so well on. And then in round 5, they got 10 points, which sounds good, but actually it was out of 14. But it's still a good score. So 33, Nat Maskell second and 29, and that was on their own. And John and Liz were together, so that's a good good score in that. Brian Doyle was third with 29, so Brian didn't do quite as well as he thought he had, but you weren't far away, and it might just be because some of the answers didn't match up, but that's a good score. Kenny Skeen on 24. That a good score. These are really good scores. I think if you've got, as my dad rightly said, I think anything above 20 is a really, really good score. Linda scored 21. Great score, Linda. Lynn and Dougie Allen got 20.5. Paul Patterson didn't think he'd be in positive points, but Paul Patterson is in positive points. Paul Patterson got 16. Ronnie Gillies with 15. Richard Skeen with 7. Marion Simpson just pipped by Richard Skeen with 6. And I've no doubt that my dad would have been lower than that, but he wasn't able to submit his form, and Mel might have been lower as well. So you're not last, Marion. You've beat your big brother because he got 0 points. Brilliant performance from John and Liz McMillan, and I have to say as well, a brilliant performance from Nat, being on her own and still scoring 29 points. I thought that was really good fun, guys. So thank you so much for playing along. I think that this has got potential. Next week it'll be a bit quicker because we won't have to explain it all quite so much. Just remember, most of you did remember. Most of you, again, I'm really pleased that most of you seem to have worked that fine because I was getting the comments through. You were able to get your answers in. Most of you submitted the form perfectly. I think it was only my dad and Mel, so it was really only members of my family who had an inability to do this. But as I say, if you didn't do so this week, I would recommend having 2 devices, one to give comments, one to give your answers, and have this on your telly. But that has worked really nicely. I'm really, really pleased, guys, and thank you so much for everybody for playing along. I'll update all your scores onto the overall scoreboard, and of course, I will be back on Friday night for the Jammin Doctor live music quiz. No, it's not. See, I'm getting all confused. Live music podcast. It's not a podcast either. It's just what I called it when I was starting it because I didn't really know what a live stream was, so I called it a podcast, but it's not. And we will have all your requests, and we'll have the pop quiz on there. I'm deliberately not going to have pop rounds in this one because you're always getting the pop quiz on a Friday. When I start back at work, I won't probably be able to do 2 shows a week, so sometimes I'll be working at the weekend late, sometimes I'll be working during the week late, so I'll probably alternate it so that hopefully every week you'll have at least something, but it might be the pub quiz one week and then the Jammin Doctor the next week. But either way, hopefully we'll always have some content for you, and as I say, I will post the link shortly so that you can buy all your t-shirts. I designed the t-shirts myself, and I do say so myself. I think they're pretty cool. And we've got mugs, and we've got phone cases and various different things. So thanks for watching. I will be with you Friday 8 p.m. and then back on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. for the next episode of